let's kick things off with a huge question, one that really defines how we build our teams and our careers. What's really more important, amazing performance or simple human trust? You might think you know the answer, but stick with me, because it's probably not what you expect. Okay, right now, I want you to picture your team at work. Who's the star player? You know, the MVP, the one you think you just couldn't survive without. Got a face in mind? Good. I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that for like 99% of you, the person who popped into your head was the one who just crushes their numbers every single time, right? The top performer. And yeah, that's what we're all taught to believe. But here's the twist. What if the most high-stakes, elite teams in the entire world think that answer is flat out wrong? What if this obsession we have with performance isn't just a mistake, but it's actually a trap that's holding us all back? So to really get this, we've got to look at a place where the stakes could not be higher. The U.S. Navy SEALs. When these guys are picking who makes it into their absolute top tier, let's just say their checklist is a little different from your average performance review. This quote, which Simon Sinek picked up from his time with the SEALs, just nails it. They basically look at two things. First, can you do the job? Your performance. That's a given. But the second thing is trust. And it's not just, hey, will you cover me in a firefight? It's much deeper. It's, can I trust you with my career, with my family, with everything? And this is how they actually visualize it. So bottom left, you can't do the job and nobody trusts you. Obvious. You're out. Top right, you're a rock star performer and everyone trusts you. You're the gold standard, the ideal SEAL. But look at that top left box. The person who's amazing at their job, but has zero trust. The SEALs have a name for that person, a toxic leader. And this right here is the mic drop moment. If the SEALs have to choose between a superstar performer who nobody trusts and a decent performer who everyone trusts, they will pick the trustworthy person. Every single time. Why? Because they know that one toxic person, that, let's be honest, that person everyone secretly calls the asshole, will poison the entire team. But the person with high trust, they make everyone around them better. Okay, so this brings up a massive question, right? If the Navy SEALs, arguably one of the highest performing organizations on Earth, have figured this out, why do most of our companies get it so completely backward? Well, the answer is kind of simple and honestly a little sad. Most businesses are obsessed with short-term numbers, quarterly reports, right? And here's the real problem. Performance is easy to measure. Did you hit your sales quota? Yes or no? It's black and white. But how do you measure trust? It's fuzzy, it's subjective. And because we don't have a neat little metric for it, we just ignore it. And in doing so, we accidentally reward the very people who are destroying our teams. All right, so we've established trust is the secret sauce. But what does a high trust leader actually do? What do they look like in a real office? And how do we become one? You know, a really great model for this comes from the tech industry, specifically from the Agile framework. There's this role called a Scrum Master, and their job isn't to be the boss in the traditional sense. Their job is to be what's called a servant leader. And honestly, the principles they follow are a perfect blueprint for any leader, no matter what your industry is. So what does that actually mean in practice? Well, for starters, they always put their team's needs before their own. They'll tell you where you're going, but they trust you to figure out the best way to get there. They're like a human shield, protecting the team from all the corporate noise and distractions. And maybe most importantly, when someone messes up, they don't see it as a failure. They see it as an opportunity for everyone to learn and get better. And listen, don't think this is some new, trendy management fad. This idea is timeless. Check out this quote about Charles Coffin, the very first president of General Electric. We're talking over 100 years ago. A man born to command, yet who never issued orders. He got it. He knew that true leadership isn't about micromanaging. It's about building a space where talented people feel safe and empowered to do amazing things. And this is where it gets really wild. This whole idea of leading with trust, it's not just a good philosophy. It's not just a nice idea. There is actual hard science that proves it works. Turns out, the answer is literally inside our own brains. It comes from this field called social cognitive neuroscience. Yeah, I know, it's a mouthful. But all it really means is that scientists are hooking people up to brain scanners to see what's happening inside our heads when we interact with each other. And what they're discovering about leadership is, well, it's a total game changer. It really boils down to that classic idea of the left brain versus the right brain. Your left brain is all about logic, numbers, spreadsheets. It focuses on the what. You could say that's management. But real leadership, inspiring people, connecting with them, understanding the why and the who, that's all happening over on the right side of the brain. It's driven by emotion and connection. In fact, the science is super specific. The right frontal part of your brain is critical for social connection. And get this, when that area isn't functioning properly, it can actually lead to antisocial behavior. Just let that sink in. Being a great leader isn't some abstract skill. It's a biological process. It's about managing your own emotions so you can inspire positive emotions in the people around you. So, okay, let's bring it all together. We've talked about Navy SEALs, corporate culture, and even the wiring of our own brains. And what you find is that it all points to one simple, powerful choice. On one hand, you have the high-trust leader, the mentor, the coach. They don't just hit targets, they build other leaders. Their legacy isn't about the numbers they put up in a quarter, it's about the people who grew under their watch. I mean, there are real stories of leaders who mentored people who then went on to become CEOs of their own companies. That's a legacy that just keeps on giving. And then there's the other path, the high performer with low trust. Sure, they might look good on paper for a while. They'll hit those quarterly goals, but they leave a battlefield of burnt out, disengaged people in their wake. They build a culture of fear and self-preservation, and at the end of the day, that's a really lonely kind of success. So it really comes down to this question for you, for all of us. What are you actually building? Are you just collecting a bunch of talented individuals who happen to work in the same place? Or are you building a true high-trust team where amazing performance isn't the goal, but the natural outcome of a healthy culture? Because at the end of the day, it's as simple and as profound as that. Lonely or loved, you get to choose.